Captain Lisa Morgan stood on the bridge of Luna Station, watching the stars through the massive viewing window. She had been the station commander for 3 years now and loved the quiet beauty of space. Earth hung below them like a blue marble, while the moon's gray surface stretched out beneath the station. It was a peaceful Tuesday morning when everything changed forever. The first sign of trouble came from Lieutenant Rebecca Taylor at the communications desk. She looked up from her screens with confusion on her face. "Captain, I'm getting some strange readings from the outer sensors. There's something big coming out of hyperspace near the asteroid belt." Lisa walked over to Rebecca's station and looked at the data. The readings showed massive energy signatures unlike anything in their databases. How big are we talking about? At least 50 ships, maybe more. They're not showing up on any of our identification systems. Rebecca's voice carried a note of worry that Lisa had never heard before. Before Lisa could respond, the main screen flickered to life, showing the view from their long-range cameras. What they saw made everyone on the bridge fall silent. Elegant ships made of what looked like crystal and silver were emerging from bright flashes of light. The vessels were beautiful but clearly designed for war. Their hulls gleamed with an inner light, and strange symbols glowed along their sides. Dr. Amy Peterson rushed onto the bridge carrying a tablet full of data. As the station's chief scientist and xenobiologist, she had been studying the possibility of alien life for years. Now that possibility had become reality. "Lisa, these ships are using technology we've never seen before. The energy patterns suggest they're using some kind of space-folding drive that's centuries ahead of our best theories." The beautiful alien ships began moving toward Earth in a formation that looked both graceful and threatening. Lisa activated the station's emergency protocols and opened a channel to Earth Defense Command. "This is Luna Station to Earth Control. We have multiple unknown vessels approaching from the outer system. Recommend immediate alert status." The response came back within seconds. "Luna Station, this is General Patricia Hayes at Earth Defense. We're tracking the vessels on our screens. All defense forces are being activated. Do not engage until we know their intentions." Lisa watched as the alien fleet moved closer. She counted at least 60 ships now, ranging from small fighters to massive battle cruisers. The largest ship in their formation was easily 3 times the size of anything humans had ever built. Its crystal hull pulsed with energy that reminded Lisa of a heartbeat. Rebecca suddenly straightened at her station. "Captain, they're sending us a message. It's in perfect English." The main screen changed to show the interior of one of the alien ships. The being who appeared looked almost human, but with features that were too perfect, too refined. Her ears were pointed like the elves from old stories, and her eyes held an ancient wisdom that made Lisa feel like a child. The alien woman wore what looked like armor made of the same crystal material as her ship. "I am Commander Zarathiel of the Etherian Empire." Her voice was musical but cold. "You have violated galactic law by developing faster-than-light travel without permission. From the Council of Worlds, your species will submit to correction or face the consequences." Lisa stepped forward. "This is Captain Lisa Morgan of Earth's Luna Station. We don't know anything about galactic law or any Council of Worlds. We're willing to discuss this peacefully." Zarathiel's expression didn't change. "Your ignorance is not an excuse. You have 3 minutes to surrender all military installations and submit to our authority. This is your only warning." The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in shocked silence. Lisa looked around at her crew and saw the same determination in their eyes that she felt in her heart. These aliens might have better technology, but they had made one big mistake. They had threatened Earth without understanding what humans were, capable of when their backs were against the wall. "Rebecca, send a message to all Earth forces. Tell them we're not surrendering." Lisa's voice was steady despite the fear she felt inside. "Amy, I need you to start analyzing everything you can about their technology. Look for any weaknesses we can exploit." The 3 minutes passed in tense preparation. Luna Station's weapons. Systems came online while fighters launched from Earth's orbital platforms. The human fleet was small compared to the alien armada, but every ship moved with purpose and determination. When the alien attack began, it was unlike anything the humans had imagined. Beams of pure energy struck their ships while crystal projectiles moved faster than anything they had seen before. The elegant alien vessels danced through space like performers in a deadly ballet. But the aliens had underestimated human creativity and stubborn refusal to give up. Lisa ordered the mining ships near the asteroid belt to use their industrial equipment as weapons. Massive rock haulers began flinging asteroids at the alien fleet while construction mechs used their cutting lasers to slice through crystal hulls. The space around Earth became a chaotic battlefield where human desperation met alien superiority. Ships exploded in brilliant flashes, while others limped away trailing atmosphere and debris. Lisa watched her people fight with everything they had against an enemy that should have defeated them easily. Commander Zarathiel found herself surprised by the humans' response. Her young second-in-command, Lyranis, watched the battle with growing unease. "Commander, these beings fight like nothing we've encountered before. They're using civilian equipment as weapons and coordinating their attacks in ways our computers can't predict." Zarathiel studied the tactical displays with new respect for their opponents. "They are more resourceful than expected. Continue the attack, but prepare for withdrawal. We need to reassess their capabilities." The first battle ended with both sides bloodied, but neither defeated. The alien fleet pulled back to the outer system, while the battered human forces regrouped around Earth. Lisa stood on her damaged bridge looking at the casualty reports and knew this was only the beginning. Amy approached her with new data. "Lisa, I've been analyzing their communications. They're not alone out there. I'm detecting signals from at least 3 other alien species all heading toward our solar system." Lisa closed her eyes for a moment, then opened them with new determination. Earth's first contact with alien life had been an attack, but humanity had survived. Now they had to prepare for something much worse. The real war was just beginning. The meeting chamber aboard the massive alien dreadnought was filled with beings that had never gathered in one place before. Commander Zarathiel of the Etherian Empire sat at a curved table made of flowing metal that seemed to move like liquid. Across from her, General Velandra of the Draconian Hegemony flexed her scaled claws while studying tactical displays. The reptilian warrior stood nearly 8 feet tall with green and gold scales that caught the strange light from the ship's crystal walls. At the far end of the table, Hive Queen Kira Mesh of the Zephyrian Collective remained perfectly still. Her insect-like body was covered in chitinous armor that gleamed like black metal. 4 arms moved independently as she processed data from multiple sources at once. When she spoke, her voice buzzed with harmonics that made the other aliens uncomfortable. "The humans have proven more resilient than any of our intelligence reports suggested," Kiramesh said, while her compound eyes reflected the light in strange patterns. "My scouts have observed their rapid adaptation to our tactics. They learn from each engagement and modify their strategies accordingly." Velandra slammed her clawed hand on the table. "They are insects compared to our combined might. One coordinated assault will crush their primitive civilization. Why are we wasting time analyzing their simple tricks?" Zarathiel kept her expression neutral, but inside she felt troubled. Her recent battle with the humans had shown her something unexpected. General Velandra speaks with the confidence of inexperience. These humans fight with a creativity that our tactical computers cannot predict. They use tools in ways we never considered and coordinate their forces with remarkable efficiency. The reptilian general hissed her displeasure. "You sound almost admiring of these primitives, Commander. Have you forgotten that they violated galactic law by developing hyperspace travel without council approval?" Before Zarathiel could respond, new tactical data appeared on the chamber's main display. The information showed Earth's frantic military buildup in the weeks since their first contact. Human ships were being modified with salvaged alien technology, while their industrial capacity had been converted to military production at an unprecedented rate. Back on Earth, Commander Kate Sullivan stood in what used to be the largest civilian shipyard in the solar system. Now it had been transformed into a military fortress, where mining equipment was being turned into weapons of war. Kate had spent 15 years in the Marine Corps, but had never seen anything like the organized chaos surrounding her. The cargo haulers are being fitted with kinetic launchers that can fire asteroids at near-light speed, reported Chief Engineer Nancy Brooks, while pointing to the massive ships being modified. We're also installing the crystal power cells we salvaged from the alien wreckage. They're more efficient than anything we've ever built. Kate nodded while reviewing the deployment schedules on her tablet. Every human settlement from Mercury to the outer moons was being fortified. Mining colonies were becoming military bases, while research stations worked around the clock to understand alien technology. What about the new fighters? We've built 200 so far using a combination of human engineering and alien materials, Nancy replied. They're faster than anything we had before, but still no match for their main battle cruisers. In her laboratory aboard Luna Station, Dr. Amy Peterson worked with a team of scientists to decode the alien technology they had captured. The crystal matrices that powered the alien ships operated on principles that challenged everything humans thought they knew about physics. But Amy had made a breakthrough that could change everything. The alien power systems work by manipulating space itself, she explained to Lisa Morgan during their daily briefing. They don't actually travel faster than light. They fold space around their ships to reduce the distance they need to travel. Lisa studied the data on Amy's screens. Can we duplicate this technology? Not exactly, but we can disrupt it, Amy said with excitement. I've discovered that certain electromagnetic frequencies can interfere with their space-folding process. If we can generate enough interference, their ships will be forced to use conventional propulsion. While the humans prepared for war, young Liranis found herself questioning everything she had been taught about her people's mission. She stood in her quarters aboard Zarathiel's command ship, staring at recordings of the human resistance. The beings her empire called primitives had shown courage and ingenuity that impressed her more than she wanted to admit. A soft chime indicated someone was requesting entry to her quarters. "Come in," she called while turning away from the display screens. Commander Zarathiel entered, looking tired after another long strategy session. "You seem troubled, Liranis. Share your thoughts with me." "Commander, I have been studying the human battle tactics and their response to our attack," Liranis said carefully. "They show remarkable adaptability and what appears to be genuine concern for protecting their civilians. These do not seem like the characteristics of a savage species that threatens galactic peace." Zarathiel was quiet for a long moment. She had been having similar doubts but hadn't voiced them to anyone. The Council has declared them a threat based on their rapid technological development and aggressive expansion into space. Our duty is to enforce the Council's will. "But what if the Council is wrong?" Liranis asked. "What if these humans could be allies rather than enemies?" The question hung in the air between them. Both elves knew that questioning the Council's decisions was considered treasonous, but the evidence from their encounters with humanity was hard to ignore. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Rebecca Taylor had been working on something that could change the course of the war. Using her expertise in communications and linguistics, she had been trying to establish direct contact with individual aliens rather than their military commanders. Her breakthrough came when she managed to intercept a private communication channel used by the alien fleet. "Captain Morgan, I've made contact with someone on one of the alien ships," Rebecca reported excitedly. "It's not an official channel and they seem willing to talk." Lisa hurried to the communications station where Rebecca had isolated the signal. On the screen was the face of a young elf woman who looked nervous but determined. "I am Liranis of the Etherian Fleet. I wish to speak with your leaders about preventing further bloodshed. The conversation that followed would prove to be the first step toward something neither side expected. As Rebecca and Lyranis talked, both women began to understand that their peoples might have more in common than their leaders believed. But time was running out. The combined alien fleets were preparing for a massive assault that would either crush human resistance once and for all, or prove that Earth's defenders were ready to take their place among the stars. The real test was about to begin. The small transport ship drifted through the asteroid belt, sending out the agreed-upon signal codes. Rebecca Taylor sat at the communications console, feeling more nervous than she had ever been in her life. Next to her, Captain Lisa Morgan kept, checking the tactical displays for any sign of alien pursuit ships. They were taking an enormous risk by meeting with Lyranis in person, but the young elf had information that could save both their peoples. There, Rebecca pointed to a sleek vessel emerging from behind a large asteroid. That's her ship. The alien craft was beautiful in a way that human engineering had never achieved. Its hull seemed to flow like water, while crystal formations along its sides pulsed with soft blue light. As it approached their transport, both women could see that it was designed for speed and stealth rather than combat. The docking process was awkward since human and alien technologies were completely different, but eventually the two ships connected through an improvised airlock. When the doors opened, Lyranis stepped through wearing a simple gray uniform instead of the crystal armor they had seen during the first attack. She was smaller than Lisa had expected, barely 5.5 feet. Tall, but her presence filled the cramped transport cabin. Her pointed ears and large eyes gave her an otherworldly beauty, but it was the intelligence and concern in her expression that impressed the human women most. "Captain Morgan, Lieutenant Taylor," Lyranis said in perfect English, "I am grateful that you agreed to this meeting despite the risks." Lisa studied the young elf carefully. "You said you have information about the alien alliance. We need to know what we're facing." Lyranis activated a small device that projected a three-dimensional map of the solar system. Red markers showed the positions of the various alien fleets, while blue indicators marked human defensive positions. "The Draconian hegemony under General Velandra has brought 60 warships. The Zephyrian Collective has 40 vessels plus support craft. My own people have 50 ships in the area." Rebecca felt her heart sink as she looked at the numbers. "That's over 150 alien ships against maybe 30 human vessels. We can't win a direct confrontation." "No, but you don't need to win," Lyranis said with urgency in her voice. "The alliance is not as strong as it appears. General Velandra grows more aggressive with each planning session. She wants to destroy Earth completely and colonize the system for her people. Hive Queen Kiramesh opposes this plan because she believes humans could be valuable allies." Lisa leaned forward with interest. "And your people?" "Commander Zarathil is beginning to question our mission here. She has been studying your tactics and is impressed by your resourcefulness and determination. Many of us believe the Council may have made an error in declaring you a threat." The conversation was interrupted by an urgent communication from Luna Station. Dr. Amy Peterson's face appeared on the screen, looking excited and worried at the same time. "Lisa, I've made a breakthrough with the alien technology, but we have a problem. Long-range sensors are detecting another fleet approaching from outside the solar system. The projection changed to show new contacts moving toward Earth from the direction of Alpha Centauri. These ships were different from anything they had seen before, larger and more heavily armed than even the biggest alien vessels already in the system." Lyranis studied the new data with growing alarm. "Those are Imperial Guard ships from the Etherian homeworld. If they're coming here, it means the Council has decided to end this situation permanently." "How long do we have?" Lisa asked. "Perhaps 10 days before they arrive. After that, no power in the galaxy will be able to prevent Earth's destruction," Lyranis replied grimly. The meeting ended with plans for Lyranis to share intelligence about alien weaknesses while the humans prepared for what might be their final battle. As the elf woman returned to her ship, she made a decision that would change everything. She was going to openly defect from the Etherian Empire. Back on Earth, Commander Kate Sullivan was leading the conversion of the entire asteroid belt into a defensive network. Mining platforms became weapon stations while cargo containers were filled with explosives and programmed to act as guided missiles. Every piece of space infrastructure was being turned into a tool of war. The new plan is to use the asteroids themselves as our fortress, Kate explained to her staff officers. We'll hide ships and weapons throughout the belt and force the aliens to fight us on our terms. They may have better technology, but we know this battlefield better than they do. Meanwhile, Dr. Amy Peterson had been working with samples of alien crystal technology to understand how their weapons and shields operated. Her team had discovered something remarkable about the way the alien systems interfaced with their users. The alien technology is partially biological, Amy reported during a video conference with Earth's military leaders. Their ships respond to the mental patterns of their operators, but human brain chemistry is different from theirs. We might be able to use their own weapons against them if we can find the right interface protocols. The breakthrough came when Amy tested human neural patterns against captured alien equipment. Human thought processes were faster and more chaotic than what the alien systems were designed to handle. Where alien minds followed predictable logical pathways, human creativity introduced variables that confused the alien computers. Commander Zarathil was facing her own crisis of command as more of her officers began expressing doubts about their mission. The humans had not acted like the savage aggressors described in their briefings. Instead, they had shown remarkable courage in defending their homeworld and had even attempted diplomatic contact through Lyranis. Perhaps we should recommend that the Council reconsider their position, suggested Captain Thiel Anis, one of Zarathil's most trusted subordinates. These humans show potential for civilized behavior if given proper guidance. Before Zarathil could respond, alarms began sounding throughout the ship. Her tactical officer called out urgent warnings about human ships emerging from the asteroid belt in a coordinated attack pattern. Kate Sullivan was leading the first major human offensive of the war. Using the intelligence provided by Lyranis, her strike force had identified a weakness in the alien fleet formation. While the different alien species could fight together, their command structures were incompatible, and their coordination was limited. Human ships poured out of their hiding places among the asteroids like angry hornets from a disturbed nest. They used the three-dimensional nature of the asteroid field to their advantage, appearing above and below the alien formations, while conventional tactics assumed attacks would come from a single plane. The battle that followed proved that humans had learned from their earlier encounters. They no longer tried to match alien firepower directly, but instead used speed, surprise, and knowledge of local conditions to level the playing field. Mining charges turned asteroids into massive explosive devices while construction mechs used their industrial tools to board and disable alien vessels. For the first time since the conflict began, the aliens found themselves retreating from human forces. As Zarathil watched her elegant ships being outmaneuvered by converted mining equipment, she realized that her people had seriously underestimated their opponents. The victory was costly for both sides, but it proved something important to the galaxy. Humans were not going to surrender or be easily conquered. They had the technology, the determination, and now the tactical experience to fight as equals against any opponent. But the approaching Imperial Guard fleet meant the real test was still coming. Earth had days to prepare for a battle that would determine whether humanity would join the galactic community or be destroyed for threatening the established order. Hive Queen Kiramesh moved through her ship's organic corridors with purpose that her subordinates recognized as decision time. The Zephyrian Collective had remained neutral in the growing conflict between the other alien species and humanity, but neutrality was no longer possible. The approaching Imperial Guard fleet would destroy everything in the solar system unless someone acted to prevent it. She entered her private communication chamber and activated the quantum transmitter that would send her message directly to Earth. The insectoid queen had made her choice, and it would either save both their species or doom them all. "This is Hive Queen Kira Mesh of the Zephyrian Collective speaking to the human leadership," her buzzing voice carried clearly through the transmission. "I propose an alliance against the approaching Imperial Guard fleet. General Valandra has become unstable and represents a threat to galactic peace. Your people have shown remarkable tactical abilities that could benefit all our species." On Luna Station, Captain Lisa Morgan stared at the communication in shock. Dr. Amy Peterson quickly ran the message through their analysis systems to verify it wasn't some kind of trap or deception. The readings confirmed that the transmission was genuine and came from the Zephyrian flagship. "An alliance with the insect people," Rebecca Taylor said thoughtfully. "3 weeks ago, we didn't even know aliens existed. Now we're being asked to choose sides in their civil war." Lisa studied the tactical displays showing the positions of all the alien fleets. The Imperial Guard would arrive in less than 48 hours with enough firepower to sterilize every planet in the solar system. Earth's only chance was to turn the existing alien forces against each other and hope that human tactics could tip the balance. "Send a reply to Kiramesh," Lisa decided. "Tell her we accept her proposal, but we need detailed information about Imperial Guard capabilities and weaknesses." The response came back within minutes, along with tactical data that changed everything. The humans thought they knew about the approaching threat. The Imperial Guard ships were not just more powerful than anything they had faced before. They were designed specifically to destroy entire planetary systems quickly and efficiently. Commander Zarathil was facing the most difficult decision of her long military career. Lyranis stood before her in her command chamber, having formally requested permission to defect to the human forces. The young elf's request had forced Zarathil to confront her own growing doubts about their mission. "You are asking me to commit treason against the Council and the Empire," Zarathil said quietly. "Do you understand what you're requesting?" "I understand that the humans are not the threat we were told they would be," Lyranis replied with conviction. "They fight to defend their homes and families, not to conquer or destroy. The Imperial Guard will eliminate an entire species based on fear and prejudice." Zarathil walked to the viewing port and stared out at the blue planet that had become the center of so much conflict. Earth looked peaceful from this distance, but she knew it contained billions of lives that would be ended if the Imperial Guard succeeded in their mission. "The humans have shown remarkable adaptation and creativity in their defensive efforts," she admitted. "Perhaps the Council's assessment was based on incomplete information." Lyranis stepped closer to her commander. "We could contact the human forces and offer our assistance. Many of our people have expressed doubts about this war. They would follow your lead if you chose to act." The decision was made easier by an urgent communication from General Valandra demanding that all alien forces prepare for immediate assault on human positions. The reptilian general had grown tired of delays and wanted to crush Earth's defenses before the Imperial Guard arrived to claim the victory. "Contact Captain Morgan on Luna Station," Zarathil commanded. "Tell her that the Etherian Third Fleet is prepared to assist in defending Earth against the Imperial Guard." The alliance that formed over the next 24 hours would have been impossible just weeks earlier. Human tactical expertise combined with Zephyrian intelligence networks and Etherian military technology created a defensive force unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Commander Kate Sullivan found herself coordinating battle plans with alien officers who had been trying to kill her just days before. The cultural differences were enormous, but the shared goal of survival created understanding where diplomacy had failed. "The Imperial Guard will expect us to meet them in traditional fleet formations," Kate explained to the mixed group of human and alien commanders. "Instead, we're going to use the entire solar system as our battlefield. Mercury's solar collectors will become energy weapons, the asteroid belt will provide mobile cover and ammunition, and Jupiter's moons will serve as staging areas for our reserve forces." Dr. Amy Peterson had been working around the clock to create interface systems that would allow human crews to operate alien ships and alien crews to use human equipment. The breakthrough came when she realized that the different species' technologies could be combined in ways that none of them had considered alone. Human creativity plus alien precision equals something completely new, she reported to Lisa Morgan. We've created hybrid systems that are more effective than anything any of our species built separately. When the Imperial Guard fleet finally emerged from hyperspace near Pluto, they found a solar system prepared for war in ways they had never encountered. The massive alien ships were immediately targeted by converted orbital platforms, while swarms of fighters launched from hidden bases throughout the system. The battle that followed was unlike anything in recorded galactic history. Human miners fought alongside elven warriors while insectoid drones coordinated attacks with converted cargo haulers. The rigid Imperial Guard formations found themselves overwhelmed by the chaotic creativity of the Allied defense. General Velandra had initially refused to join the alliance and launched her own assault on Earth's remaining defenses. But when Imperial Guard ships began targeting Draconian vessels without warning, she realized that the approaching fleet saw all non-Imperial forces as enemies to be eliminated. "This is General Velandra to all Draconian forces," she broadcast on all frequencies. "We are joining the defensive alliance. Target the Imperial Guard ships." The turning point came when Lyranis led a combined squadron of human and alien fighters in a desperate attack on the Imperial Guard command ship. Using tactics that no military academy had ever taught, they disabled the massive vessel's control systems and forced the remaining Imperial ships to withdraw. As the Imperial Guard fleet retreated toward the outer system, the unlikely alliance found itself victorious against impossible odds. But the victory had come at a terrible cost. Ships from all species drifted as burning wreckage, while rescue teams worked to save survivors from the debris. Captain Lisa Morgan stood on the bridge of Luna Station, looking out at the battlefield where so many had died to defend Earth. Next, to her, Commander Zarathil watched her own people working alongside humans to rescue survivors from damaged ships. "Your species has changed the galaxy forever," Zarathil said quietly. "The old order based on fear and isolation cannot survive what we have accomplished here." Lisa nodded while watching human and alien crews working together in the aftermath of battle. Maybe that's not such a bad thing. Maybe it's time for something better. The war was over, but the real work of building a new galactic community was just beginning. Earth had earned its place among the stars through courage and sacrifice, but keeping that place would require wisdom and cooperation that had never existed before in the galaxy. 6 months after the Great Battle, Dr. Amy Peterson stood in the newly constructed Galactic Council building on Luna Station, wearing the blue uniform of Earth's first official ambassador to the galaxy. Around her, representatives from dozens of alien species worked together on problems that had seemed impossible to solve just a year ago. The building itself was a symbol of what cooperation could achieve. Human engineering had provided the structural framework, while Etherian crystals supplied clean energy and Zephyrian biotechnology managed the life support systems. Even some reformed Draconian engineers had contributed defensive systems to protect the station. "The refugee relocation program is ahead of schedule," reported Commander Kate Sullivan during the morning briefing. She now coordinated joint military operations between species that had been enemies less than a year ago. "The survivors from the border worlds destroyed by the Imperial Guard are being settled on 12 different planets with full support from the Alliance." Amy nodded while reviewing reports from across the galaxy. The victory over the Imperial Guard had inspired other species to challenge the old Council's authority, but it had also created new problems that required careful management. "What about the resistance movements on the core worlds?" "They're growing stronger every day," Kate replied. "Apparently news of our alliance has reached species that have been suppressed by the old Council for centuries. They want to join what they're calling the new galactic community." The irony was not lost on any of them. Earth's supposed violation of galactic law had started a revolution that was transforming the entire galaxy. The old system based on fear and rigid hierarchy was crumbling as more species chose cooperation over domination. Lieutenant Rebecca Taylor entered the briefing room carrying a secure communication device. Her role had evolved from ship's communications officer to Earth's primary liaison with the various alien intelligence networks. "We've received a priority message from the deep space monitoring stations. You need to see this immediately." The holographic display activated to show star charts from the galactic edge where automated sensors had been placed to watch for threats from outside known space. What they revealed made everyone in the room fall silent with shock and growing fear. "It's a fleet," Rebecca said quietly, "but not from any species we know. The energy signatures are completely different from anything in our databases. Conservative estimates put their numbers at over 10,000 ships." Amy studied the readings with growing alarm. The approaching vessels were massive, easily dwarfing even the largest Imperial Guard dreadnoughts. Their technology appeared to be based on principles that none of the known galactic species had ever encountered. "How long until they reach the inhabited systems?" Amy asked. "At their current speed, approximately 8 months," Rebecca replied. "But Amy, there's something else. These ships have been detected destroying entire star systems as they advance. They're not just conquering territory, they're consuming everything in their path." The morning briefing became an emergency session as representatives from every allied species were called to Luna Station. When Commander Zarathil arrived with her senior staff, she brought additional intelligence that confirmed everyone's worst fears. "Our long-range scouts have made contact with refugees fleeing the advancing fleet," Zarathil reported to the assembled council. "The attackers are from outside our galaxy entirely. They call themselves the Devourers, and they exist only to consume the resources of other civilizations." Hive Queen Kiramesh's multiple arms moved constantly as she processed data from her own intelligence networks. "My people have encountered similar extra-galactic threats in the distant past. The old histories speak of species that travel between galaxies consuming everything they find. They are not interested in conquest or negotiation, only in complete consumption of all available resources." Amy felt a chill run down her spine as she realized the full scope of the threat they were facing. "You're saying this is what Earth's expansion into space was actually preparing us for? That the conflict with the old council was somehow meant to happen?" "The galaxy has been fractured by fear and competition for thousands of years," Zarathil explained. "Individual species fighting among themselves could never have resisted this kind of threat. But an alliance like ours, built on cooperation and shared knowledge, might actually have a chance." General Velandra, who had become one of the alliance's most effective military coordinators despite her aggressive nature, studied the tactical projections with professional interest. "Their fleet composition suggests they have encountered and defeated numerous other galaxies. They're using technologies from dozens of different civilizations combined into their war machines." The discussion continued for hours as the assembled representatives tried to comprehend the magnitude of what they were facing. The approaching Devourer fleet represented an existential threat not just to individual planets or species, but to all life in the galaxy. Amy found herself thinking about the journey that had brought them to this point. Earth's first contact with alien life had been a devastating attack that should have destroyed human civilization. Instead, it had forced humanity to grow stronger and more adaptable than anyone had thought possible. "We need to send a message to every species in the galaxy," Amy announced. "Not just our allies, but everyone including the Imperial Council. This threat is too big for any of us to face alone." The next few months became a frantic period of preparation as the alliance expanded to include former enemies who now faced extinction alongside everyone else. The Imperial Council, faced with destruction of everything they had spent millennia building, agreed to contribute their most advanced technologies to the common defense. Captain Lisa Morgan found herself in command of the largest fleet ever assembled in galactic history. Human ships fought alongside vessels from dozens of species, all united by the knowledge that failure meant the end of everything they had ever known. When the advanced scouts of the Devourer fleet finally entered the galaxy, they found something they had never encountered before. Instead of isolated civilizations fighting among themselves, they faced a united response that combined the best technologies and tactics of hundreds of different species. Lieutenant Rebecca Taylor stood at her communication station coordinating the defense of an entire galaxy. The quantum networks that linked every world buzzed with constant updates and tactical information shared freely between species that had been enemies just months before. "All fleets report ready for engagement," she announced to the command center. "The Devourers are about to learn that this galaxy is defended by species that have learned to fight together." Amy looked around at the mixed crews of humans and aliens working side by side in the command center. The young elf Lyranus coordinated fighter squadrons while Draconian officers managed heavy weapons and Zephyrian drones provided real-time intelligence. When the first battle began, Earth's role became clear. Human tactical creativity and adaptability had become the unifying force that allowed dozens of different species to coordinate their efforts effectively. The aliens provided advanced technology and vast resources, but it was human leadership that turned the collection of separate fleets into a unified fighting force. The war against the Devourers would last for years and test the alliance in ways that none of them could imagine. But as the first engagement proved that the galaxy could defend itself, Amy knew that Earth had found its true purpose among the stars. Humanity had not just survived first contact with alien life, they had transformed the entire galaxy into something stronger and more unified than it had ever been before. The Empire had attacked Earth first, but what came after was a final warning to any force that threatened the new galactic community that freedom and cooperation would always triumph over tyranny and fear.